My mother-in-law, Sherry, used to be a different person, not the vain and shallow woman she is now. This change occurred later in her life, or at least that's what my husband, Dylan, believes. Growing up, Dylan and Sherry didn't have a lavish lifestyle. They led a modest life together. After Dylan's father passed away when he was just 4 years old, Sherry took on the role of the breadwinner. They lived simply until Dylan secured a great job after college. Dylan is a remarkable and kind man, not just because he's my husband. He earned a full scholarship to medical school and became a doctor. Despite his success, Dylan remained humble. However, Sherry's life took a turn for the luxurious. Now let me clarify, I don't have a job, for reasons I'll discuss later, but that doesn't mean I am poor or dependent on others. Unfortunately, Sherry got the wrong impression of me when we first met. Whether it was my clothes or mannerisms, something repelled her. On our first encounter, she said, "Dylan, is this the girl you've been raving about? She's so plain and average. Why would you choose someone like her? Does she even have a job?" My name is Rose, and no, I don't have a job. However, Sherry assumed that meant I was planning to trap her son and drain his money. She labeled me a gold digger and a parasite, making baseless assumptions about my character. Dylan defended me, but the argument escalated, and we decided to leave. During our journey home, Dylan apologized for his mother's behavior, acknowledging that she had crossed a line. He reassured me, saying his mom no longer knew how to act like a sane person. Although her words hurt, Dylan asked me not to mind them. Yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that being comfortable around Sherry might be a challenge. After all, she's the only parent Dylan has left. I decided to step back. We don't have much extended family, and completely cutting her off wasn't feasible. I won't push you to be friends with her, but can you at least be civil around her? Dylan asked. I can act respectfully towards your mom, Dylan, but I doubt she'll reciprocate. Don't worry, Rose. I'll keep her in check. If she crosses the line, we can consider reducing contact. I love my mom, but I love you, too. I won't let her harass you for no reason. I was skeptical about my relationship with Sherry. Dylan assured me he'd stand up for me, but I still felt uneasy. Dylan and I got married 3 years after we started dating. We had a court wedding due to financial constraints. Dylan was sending Sherry a lot of money every month for emergencies. Even after we married, he continued this, straining our finances. I didn't stop him. I believed he had the right to help his mom. However, Sherry became a problem. She regularly spoke ill of me and gossiped with her friends, spreading rumors about me being a gold digger. I ignored it initially, but it started affecting my reputation. Despite Dylan's efforts, Sherry never treated me kindly. She believed I wasn't good enough for her son. Surprisingly, one day Dylan told me that his mom wanted to invite me to a small party she was hosting. I was skeptical since she disliked me. Dylan assured me that she promised to improve and wanted me there. It seemed odd, considering her recent financial struggles, but Dylan believed she managed somehow. I agreed to go, despite my concerns about her behavior. Dylan hoped his mom was making an effort, so I decided to keep an open mind. I truly wanted us to mend our relationship and become friends. I had serious doubts that Sherry would ever consider being friends with me, despite my willingness to be civil and make an effort for Dylan's sake. It seemed that Sherry had little regard for his happiness. Despite my skepticism, I decided to attend the party. I eagerly waited for Sherry to provide details. Sherry texted me the next day, and I assumed she was extending the invitation. However, her message took an unexpected turn. She started by mentioning the party at a 5-star hotel everyone had been raving about, promising her friends a great time. This excited her. She planned to take 15 people. Curious, I asked if I was invited, given Dylan's assurance. To my surprise, Sherry responded with arrogance and disdain. She made it clear that I was not invited, emphasizing the exclusivity of the event due to her wealth, family status, and the supposed classness of her friends. I was taken aback and confused. Dylan had genuinely believed Sherry was inviting me. I expressed my assumption, only to be met with Sherry's condescending remarks, stating that I wouldn't understand the intricacies of planning such an event. I decided to maintain my dignity. I acknowledged her message and clarified that I wouldn't attend if I wasn't wanted. Sherry reiterated her stance, emphasizing her class and status. While I resisted the urge to respond with anger, I was disappointed and hurt. I chose not to share this with Dylan. Instead, I patiently waited for the day of the party. Sherry, oblivious to the emotional impact of her actions, sent me a picture showcasing her and her friends in designer outfits, flaunting their status on social media. I refrained from responding, choosing to focus on my work and patiently await the unfolding of events. After about 3 hours, I received a call from my dad. Here's a confession: my dad owns the hotel where Sherry was hosting her party, something she had no clue about. 3 years ago, I inherited a substantial amount from my grandfather, which I invested in my dad's business. Now, I receive a share of the profits from the hotel and other family-owned businesses. Despite coming from a well-off family, I prefer not to broadcast it, and that's why Sherry was unaware of my background. She also had no idea about the high cost of the 5-star hotel and its restaurant. Sherry let her friends order without checking the menu or prices, resulting in a hefty $2,000 bill. This turn of events was the perfect opportunity for revenge. My dad called me to inform me that Sherry was at the hotel, having amassed a $2,000 bill. She was now asking for a 50% discount, claiming she was short on cash. My dad sought my advice, as Sherry's party had been rude and entitled, upsetting the staff. As expected, I shared my frustration with my dad, recounting how Sherry had boasted about the party to mock me for not being invited. The irony was not lost on me, given that she couldn't even afford the party she was flaunting. I suggested making Sherry and her team wash the dishes, clean the entire kitchen, and mop the floors, given their insulting behavior. I wanted the revenge to extend to her party guests, who had also mistreated our staff. If Sherry tried anything foolish, my dad could call the cops. He laughed at the suggestion, gave it a big thumbs up, and even offered to share pictures of the event. An hour or so later, he sent me pictures of Sherry and her friends washing dishes and wiping the floor at our restaurant. Dad also shared that when Sherry saw him as the restaurant owner, she looked relieved. She began telling him that she knew the owner and they would get out of the situation. To her surprise, Dad instructed her to clean his restaurant. She was dumbstruck for a while, and when she started to protest, Dad reminded her, "Since you don't consider my daughter family, I don't consider you family either." It was a hilarious turn of events. Though I wished I was there, I did get some good pictures. Later, Dylan came home looking visibly upset. I could tell he had heard from Sherry. He approached me, questioning what he'd heard about my dad making his mom clean the restaurant dishes. I explained the situation. Sherry had gone to a restaurant, racked up a $2,000 bill, claimed she didn't have more than $1,000, harassed our staff, and her party had been a nightmare. I believed the punishment was fitting. Dylan seemed surprised and questioned who Sherry had taken and what they ordered. I informed him she took 15 people and they ordered a lot, especially the fancy items. He expressed disbelief, saying she told him she was taking only 4 people and had invited me, but I declined. I clarified what had actually happened and showed him the text messages. My dad sent him the bills, and I presented the pictures. Dylan grew extremely mad when he saw everything. He called Sherry, asking her what was wrong and why she hadn't told him the full story. Sherry claimed she only mentioned being short of cash and that I must have twisted the story. Dylan confronted her, pointing out she had insulted me and declined to invite me. She brushed it off as a harmless joke, but Dylan wasn't buying it. He called her out. "I made a mistake by giving you money whenever you shared stories about needing it." "Well, guess what? I'm not giving you any money again," Sherry pleaded. "But Dylan, it was a one-time mistake." "No, Mom. I am not overreacting. This is not a one-time mistake. If you can't even consider my wife as family, I don't want anything to do with you." Dylan hung up and blocked her number. He also apologized profusely to me. I forgave him, because he stood up for me. We had a serious discussion about Sherry and jointly decided that she will no longer be in our lives. Yes, Dylan is now a wealthy man, but he knows to stay humble. He found Sherry's behavior completely unacceptable, especially because it was directed towards me. In the next few days, Sherry realized her own actions may have damaged her relationship with her son for good. She showed up at our house, begging to speak with Dylan, but was turned away each time. She had to downgrade her lifestyle significantly. With Dylan no longer sending her money, she couldn't afford her rented condo and moved to a small one-bedroom apartment. How do we know this? She emails us, of course, still downplaying her behavior. Suffice it to say, she will be out of our lives for a while. Just a month ago, I found out I was pregnant. Dylan and I are overjoyed and busy planning everything before our baby arrives. To be honest, I'm glad that my child won't be around shallow people like Sherry anymore. But if the time comes, I'll make sure my dear mother-in-law doesn't get to fill my child's head with nonsense. For now, please wish us luck, so we can be good parents to a healthy baby.